Someone could say, well, here we have a body of men who are loyal to nobody but us. You see, they've come to fight for Spain. And this is where they differ, actually, from O'Duffy's crowd. The thing is that O'Duffy's crowd went to Spain, and they need not have gone.
But the end was near for the brigades. In October 1938, the League of Nations supervised the withdrawal of all foreign volunteers. They were men of all classes, of many creeds and of none. Without them, Spain could not have continued the fight in the early days of the war. 150 Irishmen were among their number, and 60 of these were killed in Spain, where they still lie, their graves unmarked. 60 dead, and their leader, Frank Ryan, in a Spanish prison. And you cannot discuss the Irish in Spain without touching on the strange enigma of Frank Ryan, the charismatic socialist Republican from Limerick. Captured on the Aragon front in March 1938, Ryan was the outstanding Irish leader in Spain, a man whose imprisonment by Franco caused the Irish government and even the Vatican to negotiate for his release. He had been sentenced to death, but international agitation had this commuted to 30 years in Burgos prison. In jail, Ryan was a sick man, aware at first that efforts were being made in Ireland and in Spain to have him released. One man who was with him in Burgos was the Welsh miners' leader, Tom Jones.
He got a little unhappy and felt that either, A, the Era government wasn't trying hard enough, or that they couldn't persuade Franco to get him out. And then he had other thoughts in his mind. There might be other people in Dublin, in the Dublin government even, and or even in some other organisation who would not want him back in the Republic.
Jones was eventually released, leaving Ryan behind him, and he went to Dublin ostensibly to see Ryan's family.
But I was actually conveying a message from Frank Ryan to a number of people, including the IRA. And one of the messages was that if Frank wasn't released within 6 months, that Frank requested the IRA to blow up every Spanish embassy in the Western world.
In August 1940, Frank Ryan was released from prison, but not to return to Ireland. For some reason still utterly mysterious, he turned up in Nazi Germany. To this day, his old comrades don't know why he was taken there.
But when I heard that he was in Germany, that he'd got into Germany, then I was really puzzled, and I could only think, well, somebody's forced him to go to Germany, either Franco side, or somebody in Dublin has said, he will get you released from Spain, but you can't come home to the Republic. You must go to Germany. And there were a number of factors which made it very difficult for me to understand. And even still, I still feel Frank didn't want to go to Germany.
He was convinced that he was on his way home, and he would still be convinced that he was on his way home via Germany to there.
There was nothing sinister about this, do you
But
feel?
no time, none of us, neither the British or Irish prisoners, could ever conceive of Frank Ryan having been recruited by the Gestapo, who did interview him there, as they interviewed all of us. But we could never accept this, nor believe it, that Frank Ryan could defect in this way.
A mystery to you to this day, a mystery to all of us to this day.
Indeed, and I don't think we've got the full story of why Frank got to Germany, why he was forced to go there, because he certainly didn't go. He loved his country, Ireland. He was a great Irish patriot, and this was his greatest ambition, to come home to die, if he had to die, and he didn't want to die anywhere else.
But the man who rallied the Republicans at the Jarama was to die far from Ireland. He died in Dresden in 1944, his grave a shrine to old comrades. The International Brigade, the men who had fought in the cities and Sierras, had played their part in a war which brought defeat to their side. They had learned in Spain that a man can fight for what he believes is right and yet be beaten, that force can vanquish spirit, that courage alone is not enough. This explains, perhaps, why so many men the world over regard the Spanish drama as a personal tragedy. But Irishmen in Spain were spared one horror of a civil war. They never had to face each other in battle.
I believe that they went there sincerely, but if it came to a clash, there would be no compulsion or no hesitation on our side. They were on the side of fascism, and we were fighting fascism.
I'd feel somewhat sad that I was fighting against my own Irishmen, but then there was Spaniards, many thousands of them, fighting against each other for a different idea.
Yes, I would have fought them. Only thing is, I'm afraid they didn't do much fighting.
You know, I shouldn't think it was possible that we would have met O'Duffy's people and had to fight them. But had it been possible, well, they were fascists, weren't they?
And while I sincerely regret it, I would still have found it my duty. There were still Reds.
And I would look on it as a horrible thing to have to kill my neighbour's children.
But you would have done it.
Possibly.
Looking back at it now, Pádraig, was the fight you fought there worth it? Was it a worthwhile fight?
I would say it was. It was for the Christian faith, and if we or if the Spaniards hadn't fought and won as they did, then Spain would have been belonged to the communist bloc today. France would have gone. Italy, the whole of Europe would be in the hands of Soviet Russia.
It's the one thing in my life, of course, that stands out. It was almost 2 years and 2 long, hard years, but I liked it in its way, you know, as well as you can like hardship anyway, but I liked it. I'm glad I went.
Although it must have had its horrors.
Oh, yes, but that wasn't the question you asked me. You asked me if I would go again, not if I would want to see the horrors again. No, I wouldn't want to see all those horrors again.
I would never advocate anybody else to go to war. I'd never liked I'm not one of these people who say I wouldn't miss it for the world, because I think anybody who gets a real basin full of war would never want to go again.
But if there was a necessity for people to participate in a military sense, to become involved again in Spain, I think every international brigade would.
I would. I wouldn't be fit to do it, obviously, in the same way, but intellectually my feeling is such that if I could do anything to help, I would. We have a song, you remember the old Fenian, we may have their likes, but we'll never have better. Well, that's what I feel about them. They're a fine body of men. It's a bloody honour to fight with them.
Franco commemorated the dead of the Spanish Civil War here at the Valley of the Fallen outside Madrid, and it's here that he himself is buried. The generally accepted figure for the dead is 1 million, a conveniently round figure which seems to suit both victor and vanquished. The nationalists can argue that they saved Spain from communism at the cost of 1 million lives. The Republicans would say that Franco climbed to power over 1 million corpses. They're all remembered here, the dead of both sides, Irishmen among them. Their epitaph was spoken by a former president of the Spanish Republic when he said, "When the torch passes to other hands, to other men, to other generations, let them remember, if they feel their blood boil and the Spanish temper is once more infuriated with intolerance, hatred, and destruction, let them think of the dead and listen to their lesson, the lesson of those who have bravely fallen in battle, generously fighting for a great ideal, and who now, protected by their maternal soil, feel no hate or rancor, and who send us with the sparkling of their light, tranquil and remote as that of a star, the message of the eternal fatherland, which says to all men, peace, pity, and pardon."
You'll never be happy with strangers. They would not understand you as we. So remember the Harama Valley and the old men who wait patiently